Hi, my name is Jonathan Cobb. I'm here representing Cloudstead, and I'd like each and every one of you to own your own cloud. People here started companies, familiar with folks who have started companies. You know, at some point, you love SaaS. You're starting a company, first thing you do, hey, let's get Gmail, Google Calendar, and files, and then, oh, maybe we'll use Dropbox and Box too, and maybe we'll use MailChimp to communicate with all of our fans and find out what we want to put in the next product with some surveys. The developer is going to put their code in GitHub, and we're going to use Pivotal Tracker and Jira, and before you know it, you've been really nimble. You've started your company, and you've gotten all of this stuff for free, and you're rolling, and you're focusing on your business, and that's great. And then, 12, 24 months rolls by, you've got a good business, and you've got chaos. Onboarding is a pain in the butt. You got to go add people to a dozen different systems. Offboarding is worse. Who gets those files? These freemium models, they're really kind of tease and then gouge. A lot of them, it's free until you actually start really using it, and then it's very expensive. You can't get your data out, or if you can, it's going to be expensive to try to get it into a new system. And you don't really have a center. You're kind of all over the place. So what if it could be easier? What if when you're starting your company, you could push one button and immediately have email, calendar, file sharing, bug tracking, source control, email campaign management, surveys, a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's not just these apps lying next to each other. They're all integrated into a cohesive operating system where you have single sign-on, single search, manage your accounts in one place, add apps from one app store, and pay a lot less. How much less? Here's a sample of like 6 different apps. If you went a la carte and bought best of breed, you could save a heck of a lot of money. I don't have time to give a demo here. Sorry, but if you hit up Vator.Cloudstead.io, come to our demo table, we'll get you an account and you can play with all the different apps that we have. Question we get a lot of times is, are you trying, how can you compete with best of breed? Are you really going to replace all 15 or however many apps? So one, we don't have to. A lot of these things are open source. There's a huge amount of wonderful open source that's already out there. It already works. It's just you need to be kind of technical and nerdy to get it working to do what you want to do. So Nimble Startup says go fast, use the SaaS version. Well, what if this version was just as easy and allowed you to be just as nimble as the SaaS? And it can. So we take the apps, we put a nice skin on them, and we integrate them into the single sign-on. That's about all we have to do. And it's not about us doing all the apps. We have seeded it with all these apps because we're going after a particular target vertical at first, technical startups. But in the big picture, we think it's like personal computing. Anyone can use it, and we want to create this ecosystem. We have developer tools that make it super easy to add more apps to our universe. Are you really a power user? Do you really use every last bell and whistle of MailChimp? Or do you just need to make sure that those emails get delivered? You can check your bounce rate, your click-through rate, your open rate, maybe do a few other things. We can do all of that and then some. A lot of these apps have commodified. There's nothing magical about them. And we're interrupt friendly, so it's not a closed system. We have our cloud storage, but you can plug in your Dropbox and your Google Drive and look at a unified view of all your storage. And we have a very narrow focus. So the last thing I'd like to note is, in terms of it being a platform play, if I came to you in the 1960s and said, would you like your own computer? You would say, you're crazy. They're as big as a house. Take a team of people to operate and are hideously complex. And then the personal computer happened and changed the world. Today, if I said, I want to give you your own cloud, you'd say, they're big, they're hideously complex, they take a team of people to operate, and what would I do with it anyway? It would put you on equal footing with all of the other big guys that are out there.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, here's our go-to-market. Ask me more.
You got 5 minutes with the judges, man. Don't worry about it.
Let's roll. What's up?
All right.
Thank you.
Congratulations with this. It does seem like a big undertaking. I guess where are you procedurally with the product? You were going to do a demo, but is this product live and you have customers on it today?
No. So you're right, this is hideously complex. And one of the things that I pride myself on doing is building things that are really big and complex, but in a nice, elegant way that they can grow organically. So right now, today, we have maybe 5 or 6 Cloudsteads that are operational in a private beta form. I guess someone's advancing this last for me. And we've been running the company off of our own Cloudstead for several months, so kind of dog fooding. There's maybe a handful of features that we'd like to get in before we release it in a public beta that will happen in May.
So for a company that uses a lot of cloud software, say Box, Salesforce, and all of that, so what you're proposing is for them to migrate all their data to Cloudstead and just get off all those platforms. How do you solve for that friction point? Because I think there's a lot of unwillingness to actually.
Right. So if you went to a company that had built everything on mainframes and said, I want you to adopt PC-based architecture, that's going to be a tough sell for us right now. So right now we're going after greenfield. We do have plans to support, you've got all these existing apps. Some of them are easy, some of them are not. To pull files out of Dropbox or Google Drive is pretty easy. To pull email out of Gmail is pretty easy. To pull a project out of Basecamp or stuff out of Salesforce, you need some migration tools. So our roadmap does have import-export tools, and we'll start taking them down in whatever verticals we focus in with whatever are the most popular apps that are in there.
Are you trying to build everything for everyone? I mean,
No, absolutely not.
These companies, each one of these companies you mentioned, have focused engineering teams that are building, sort of one.
Did you miss my best of breed slide?
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, I can talk to you later. Any other questions?
Is this is it a platform like, I don't know if you remember Grand Central that Halsey Minor was trying to do a long time ago before the App Exchange. Is it like that, or is it a bunch of apps that are integrated into the cloud?
So it's all the apps run on your Cloudstead, and it's yours and it's private. So they all run there, and it's a self-managing, self-operating cloud. In that sense, if you add more apps, they go in there. Now you can interoperate with other third-party SaaS that operates outside of that.
But you're building apps too, correct?
No, we are taking existing apps, open source and commercial, integrating them into the single sign-on, putting a nice skin on them so they match the look and feel, tying them into the platform. We are not actually building apps.
Is it like Grand Central in that way?
I'm not intimately familiar with Grand Central outside of their voice. There was a voice offering. Okay, yeah.
Well, don't you think that single sign-on products solve a lot of the pain point you're talking about? Because now even single sign-on apps allow you to search within other apps as well. So how do you feel about that? Isn't that the main pain point, having a single access point to access all your apps? And from there, I don't know whether there's a strong need for a private cloud.
I just know when I start companies, I've seen this pain, right? You get this pain. The last company that I didn't start it, but I was running an engineering team of 20 odd people, a QA and DevOps, and adding people was horrific. And removing people was even worse. And then our bills were getting ridiculous, and we started engineering our code so that we would engineer the vendor's pricing model so we didn't have to get charged as much. And a lot of the apps were like, what are we using this for? Analytics. Web analytics is not that hard. You need to fire data points and you need to graph them. So I think for a lot of apps that people kind of go for convenience and then later get bitten, that set of commodified apps is getting larger and larger and larger. There will always be specialty apps that you won't have on your Cloudstead because only one company offers them. There will always be users that use every last bell and whistle. Okay, you need the best of breed, that's cool. But for most people, I think the apps that we offer will satisfy all their needs.
So you mentioned startups, and totally understand that because they're new businesses and they're hiring a lot of people. They've got to get processes in place, but they don't have much money usually. Some do. For the market, what customer profile really has this problem that you're going to solve? Who are you going after where this is a serious problem that's costing the money?
So our initial vertical is tech startups.
Other than startups.
Other than startups, we'll go find them. My thesis is that this is, private cloud is the new PC. If you went out in the mainframe era and said, who needs a computer? You would kind of scratch your head and say, what would I do with it? So we're trying to seed it with a bunch of useful apps that show people this thing is super powerful, very easy, and then we'll go find it. But I'll be honest, in terms of fundraising, we are very much looking for advice and guidance on where we go to market beyond that.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Bread and butter just for you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.